I'm just gonna be walking through the woods here in Virginia, showing you the ecology and talking about my observations and things that I've picked up over time. It's June 20th, just before 2 p.m. and the UV is high. And I would imagine you get a couple ticks. That's what I've been averaging daily. Maybe not on this one, but this will be the pace of this video. So if this is not for you, I suggest you quit here. I'm not sure how long we're gonna go today. We'll see. We'll see. So, while I'm walking, I am trying to avoid touching plant life. So, my understanding is that ticks will basically fall off animals like deer and birds and whatever, but they'll stay like on or near the paths. And the reason they stay on or near these paths is to grab onto another animal to suck their blood, because that's what ticks do. I see a little fungi here. Not sure what it is. We're filming in 720p right now for, just battery life and hardware life and stuff in general. We have more mushrooms. It's been raining, so when it rains, my understanding is that fungi like a lot of moisture in the air. That is their preferred climate. At least many of the fungi that we're familiar with. So like this right here. Let's just see if there's any ticks. I don't see any hanging off this plant. Unsure of what that plant is. This plant is sassafras. I'm not actually sure. I believe these might be black raspberries, but yeah, I'm nearly positive this is black raspberries. These won't really produce to a point. I don't think that we would want to eat them, because they're in the shade and they need more sun to grow ripe, sweet, whatever. So this is another thing when walking. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, you can see this little spider right here. Try not to bother them. They're at the middle of their web. It's well woven. Weaved? Well wove web. I don't know what type of spider that is, but a lot of the spiders, you see these, I don't know if you can see them, but there's little insects flying around, and they're flying around less right now. I think because it's sunny, hot, middle of the day. Most living things are kind of chilling right now, trying to, not get too hot. But basically all the spiders that I see sort of just run into these webs or whatever, it's just they're out looking for other bugs, and in general they're not really, my understanding, and this is no research, it's just from my years and years of being around the woods and being in them. My understanding is that these spiders are never really, that's another web you can't really see. The spider's not at the middle of this one. But these spiders are never really venomous. Or usually not venomous, poisonous, whatever. I'm wondering how much UV, if you're I don't know, are climatologists, do they know this? Maybe biologists? I'm wondering how much UV exposure I get just being in the shade like this, still, just with the reflectant light and what have you. Here's another mushroom. These, man, I'm not actually sure on this one. There's more pipers. I want to say they're called pipers, but maybe that's just the type. So there's more around here, and then these ones are toxic, if I remember right. I think that's the same one. You see the cap is different on that one, but I think that cap just expands out. Because if you don't know, the way that mushrooms produce is that they spore. So my understanding is they produce these spores, and the spores sort of fall out, and so mushrooms tend to grow in sort of clustery formations, and they tend to grow where they tend to grow in sort of areas that are wetter, right? So like right here you see these pipe white ones, and I can see them going up here a little bit. This is sort of it's sort of where the land comes, like over here, it's kind of higher, it comes down, and then goes up over here, and because of that, more water falls in the soil. It sort of comes down and into here, which the mushrooms like, at least according to my friend, who I think is in many ways much more of a woods person than I. Ooh, we got more spider webs. This is the same as the first one that I pointed out. Let's see, can you see where? So you can't see from the light from this angle. Yeah, it's walk around. Let them continue to eat the flies that like to fly in our eyes. It's like, I guess that's what the gnats are looking for, warmth or wet or both, and they just somehow have sensory that makes them aim for our eyes, and they just go for it. We're about 8.5 minutes in right now. Be nice to go for maybe 20. Seems like a good, maybe a little longer. Trying to there's little blackberries here. These are also, you see it's red, turn black if you know, again, it's shade here, right? So it's rare to find, with this much tree cover, this much shade, it's rare to find things that actually get ripe. Maybe even especially this early in the season, they might get ripe sort of later in the season, but you know, you just kind of know. It's like, okay, there's some blackberries over there, they're red in June, you just kind of get a feel for it going out. But yeah, I am trying to make the type of videos that I would want to see, so I like long stuff a lot of the time, unless I'm just trying to get a quick answer real quick. This is another fungi, and I do not know what it is. It looks like coral to me. You can see there's some flies sort of hanging around here. Well, maybe you can't. A little gnat there. There's a fly crawling around down there. And I'm not really touching it, because I'm not really trying to disturb the plant life here as little as possible. I guess this looks like another mushroom cap. Yeah, trying to walk gently, but sometimes things are dead, or sometimes things could use a pruning. That's just me wanting to prune things, I guess. I don't know if things could use a pruning. It's kind of yeah, I don't know what this is. It's an interesting plant. So there's more of these mushrooms now. So the climate here on Wikipedia is described as, in this specific location, is described as subtropical. Tropical climates, many, if you think of the rainforest, are known for biodiversity. This region is incredibly biodiverse. So, things are always evolving here and changing, and there's always so many animalia and plantia, I don't know, and fungi that I just don't recognize. Just always, all I remember from ecology is much younger sort of kingdom, phylum. I can't even remember right now. Kingdom, phylum, order, genus, species, family, genus, species. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species was the order. Perhaps things have been learned since I learned that. Alright, we're gonna head down this path, semi-path, and look at least some poison ivy, because it's a good thing to know if you are finding yourself outdoors in Virginia. Let's see, we can also do a tick check. Right, I'm wearing long pants. This helps with the things in summer with, not getting as much poison ivy on you. If you wash them, the poison ivy oil, my understanding is the oil will get on your pants. But you have to walk through these bushes now. You're like, are there ticks on here? It's funny, they're easy to miss, right? I'll get back from this walk, I'll find one bitten into my leg, I'll take it out, my leg will be itchy. Well, ideally not, but that might happen. So if you are a Virginian and you don't know what this is it a rose or something? It looks like that to me. It has this like thorny leaf structure, and I don't know. If you are a Virginian and you know of cool nature areas to explore, you should let me know, or any of the ecology that I am not pointing out. I've not really talked much about non-living aspects of the ecology. We sort of have, again, my friend tells me that you see these, this bank here, there's sort of erosion problems having to do with sort of less, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like more intense weather patterns. And for the United States, Virginia, my understanding is, unless we're talking about Eastern Virginia, which is close to the Chesapeake Bay, I'm not sure, closer to Virginia Beach in the ocean, Virginia is more sheltered. Virginia is more sheltered climate-wise. or it's just, you know, it's easier for humans to operate here if the climate gets weird. I'm not describing this well, but the mountains, you know, mountains are very durable. I don't know. Maybe I'll go through, do a video on that sometime. All right. Let's see. Poison ivy. People say poison ivy grows close to the roads. A lot of time that's true, you know. I think it has to do with, this is working theory, has to do with different chemicals that are used by the roads and whatnot. It looks like it's dying here, or died off, actually. Let's see. Nope. Okay, here we go. This is poison ivy. Right here. You see these? It always has 3 leaves, right? If you're ever confused, right? Like this, you'd be like, this looks kind of like this. This one right here. That one right there. My finger's now under it. The one that my finger is under. You see it has these sort of jagged edges, whatever, but it will always have, just like weird feeling in my toe. It will always have 3 leaves. So there's another example over there. It's a big bite out of the leaf. I guess something's eating it. I see a little spider on that one. Yeah, I'm not sure what eats poison ivy, but it was much more prevalent right here than it is currently. So perhaps there is some woodland animal that noms. Always has 3 leaves. Sometimes it often can look shiny. That's like, I think that's the oils. All right. We have a few more minutes. At least. Just walking back the way that I came. It's funny, I said, oh, like, this will be the pacing of the video, and I'm yapping way more than I wanted to. I guess I'm just seeing stuff. But, so poison ivy can also be on vines. Like this. This is not poison ivy, right? It has 1 leaf. I don't know what this is. I'm not going to touch it, but I guess I should talk about some of the woods. This is, what is this, a tulip or a poplar? I kind of forget. This one right here. Yeah, that one's a poplar, that big one. It'll have yeah, there's something eating the leaves of these poplars, but it's hard to get up there. There's just a bunch of holes in the leaves. Actually, I don't know if they're I'm pretty sure they're poplars. Yeah, but yeah, I aspire for, if I make future of these videos, let me know what you like and don't like, I guess, or what's helpful and what's not helpful. I aspire to probably talk less, but maybe for this first one, kinda, there's a lot to say, I guess. Or I'm just saying things that need not be said. I stop and check often. There's a lot of people would tick check at the end of the day. I think that's, you know, if you're walking around the woods, like, not in a rush, like, you don't want to be walking around. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. Maybe, I don't know your life, but I don't want to be walking around the woods rushing. That's not. There's many things that we can come across in these woods. We can come across a bear. We can come across, you know, there's many dangers, I should say. We could run through poison ivy. Maybe not many dangers, but there's some. And if you're moving fast, you know, it's not, be conscious of your environment. There's, you know, copperheads, or I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see some snakes around this time of day. Probably not here. Or I would, you know, it's maybe they're probably traveling somewhere or hunting something perhaps, because they want to be laying in the sun right now because they're reptiles. I see some new mushrooms I'm about to point out. They want to be laying in the sun because they're reptiles, gaining energy from the sun because they need the heat to warm their blood because they're cold-blooded. We do not need that to warm our blood, apparently, because we are warm-blooded. These mushrooms, brown, it looks like, you know, these are a little further along, or there's some sort of other fungus. You know, these are some white sort of fungus. It's starting to mold or deteriorate. These are cool looking to me. I don't know if this is the same one. I would imagine yes, just a different color, and it's not as, it doesn't have these sort of, it looks pleated, like pleated dress pants or something. We get to a point, ooh, more mushrooms. Look at the underside. We get to a point where I find it's been a while and I have nothing to say. I will likely end. Oh, wow, okay. Wow. Spiderweb to the face. And that is why we walk slowly. We are scanning with our eyes. We are looking at the ground. I'm probably walking too fast and filming, you know, it adds this other thing. We're scanning the ground, we're scanning in front of us. We just need to be scanning far ahead of us so that we don't accidentally run into a black bear. You know, we don't want to sneak up on a black bear. There's a butterfly over there. Mushroom. Has the little ridges going there. Looks like something fell over. Maybe it just grow that way. Mushrooms sort of helps other stuff break down in a way. It's like, you know, if I told you what the mushrooms you eat grow on and stuff, and you might not be that excited. You know, the mushrooms that come from, I guess, mass-produced mushrooms. But also, I don't know, you know, I take that with a grain of salt because I don't actually know that well. More mushrooms. It's been very rainy lately, so I'm sort of expecting to see lots of these mushrooms. Have another mushroom. Looks like something's taking bites out of it. Eating away at it. I don't really know the bird sounds around here yet. All right, I think that's it. Can subscribe if you want. And I have a bunch of shorts. I've been posting shorts. This is the first long video on this channel, so I hope you enjoy it. You know, give direction if you feel so inclined, or, you know, make the little notification thingy so that you'll get notified of the next one.